Welcome back to the program. The Republicans and Donald Trump are trying to cast doubt on the legally cast ballots of U.S. citizens simply because they haven't been counted yet. They're already laying the groundwork for a legal dispute in places like Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin. They filed lawsuits arguing that voters whose mail-in ballots have some deficiency, like a missing signature, should not be able to cast provisional ballots instead, and that those were sent that way should be ditched. Remember, they're also challenging the state's extension of deadline for mail-in ballots. The Trump campaign has filed a lawsuit today in Michigan to halt counting of votes until they get access to polling stations to observe the opening of ballots. He also wants to recount the votes in Wisconsin. So is there any merit to all this? Let's try to break it down. Like, what are the facts here? We're going to now bring in Professor Bruce Ackerman. He's the author and the Sterling Professor of Law and Political Science at the Yale Law School. He also happens to be a friend of the U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, and he very rarely weighs in on these issues, not a partisan. So, sir, it's a great pleasure to have you here. When you heard the President of the United States last night say, "I declare victory, I don't want any more votes to count," whatever that meant, and that there's massive voter fraud now, just again, this is what you do. What was your reaction to that? How do you parse that?
Well, it is not the crucial decision maker in this affair is not Donald Trump. It is the courts and the Supreme Court of the United States. And there is no chance whatever that the Supreme Court at this moment will intervene to eliminate ballots or supervise. Obvious, for one thing, it takes time to actually consider arguments and thoughtfully resolve questions one way or the other. There is no time. Rather, the vote count will proceed. Whoever the electoral authorities of each state determines to be the winner will be the winner, unless it is successfully challenged before the Supreme Court of the United States. Now, the crucial point here is that three members of the present court actually were litigating in Bush against Gore in 2000 on the side of President Bush. This was perfectly legitimate at the time. John Roberts, Kavanaugh, and Justice Barrett. These three were engaged in advocacy. I know, as you mentioned, I was a representative for Al Gore before the legislature. The Florida legislature. I only do this on matters of the first importance. This is not what I do for my time. I write books. So what we have is, if the court were to intervene later on after in 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 weeks, will three engaged participants in Bush v. Gore actually invalidate close vote counts on behalf of President Biden so as to permit President Trump to have a second term? I am Justice Roberts, Chief Justice Roberts, and myself, clerk for the same leading jurist of the last generation, Henry Friendly, at different times, but we know each other for 35 years. And not for the last 2 or 3, I haven't been in Washington too much recently. And I can tell you, John Roberts, I disagree with him on a lot of things on the merits, but he is a person who is profoundly dedicated to the proposition that the Supreme Court of the United States should be above politics. It should not become merely another partisan organ. At the same time, however, four of the very conservative justices have already moved well beyond Bush against Gore and indicated an enthusiasm for intervention. So the crucial question is going to be Justice Barrett. John Roberts, I'm imagining, will be pointing out to Justice Barrett that if she joins the majority and intervenes and awards Donald Trump a second term, she will be profoundly compromising and make it really plainly illegitimate to do what she really is. It's important for her to do, which is not this, but overruling Roe against Wade, and invalidating the Health Care Act and things of this kind. Does she really want to delegitimate her own role, especially when Donald Trump has said, "I'm putting her on the court so that we have a fifth judge"?
Right.
Now,
You know,
the question is, which way will she turn? Will she listen to John Roberts, or will she listen to the other four? This is really a crucial tragedy of the American Republic, that its future as a law-abiding republic is dependent upon the decision of one person.
And that's why the Supreme Court is so important. Unfortunately, I've got to take a break here. But Professor Ackerman, first of all, that was thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's the perspective we need to hear, and I appreciate you giving it to us. Thank you, sir, very much.
I say, thank you.